Hello and welcome to another episode of The Modern Nerd. I am Sir Slice,
And I am merchandise.
and we are, as always, massive nerds. Now, I'll open up before we get into our Black Adam review here. I'm going to say thank you very much for tuning in and watching. We really appreciate it. If you've enjoyed these, we're going to start making shorter content and making these reviews a little bit more consumable for you. So if you're enjoying that, give it a like and subscribe, give us a follow, and keep a lookout for a whole bunch more stuff coming. Follow all the socials here. Even Dan, yes, even merchandise will be posting stuff. It's going to be great. That being said, as I mentioned earlier, we are going to be doing our Black Adam review. Now, as you can tell, also, there's only two of us. Someone's missing, womp womp, because Senor GJC did not want to go see Black Adam, and that's fine. I can't blame him. DC has not had the best track record in the world, so it's just going to be us here. And shocker, might be a little bit of a role reversal. Stay tuned to find out. Dan, what did you think?
Dude, I liked it.
That's it. Good night, everyone. We're all set. Dan liked it. Have a good day. No. Yeah, Dan, give us a quick what did you like?
Okay. Bar's low, right? Bar is low. What are you gonna do? It's DC, right? You come in, okay, gonna be a shit movie. Sitting at a solid 40 something percent on Rotten Tomatoes. All right, whatever. Gonna see it. Maybe it'll be fun. I, the action, man. I haven't seen a good action movie in the comic book world like this in a long time, and it was awesome. It was awesome to see in the theater. It was just a ton of fun, and I was happy about it. Me and Tim were talking earlier, and I was like, "Can we even think of a movie that's had this good of action in like the last couple of years?" And Tim's like, "Well, what about Spider-Man? No Way Home." I'm like, "Oh, right," but that's because we were swept up in like the greatness of the entirety that was Spider-Man No Way Home, and that
The
then
fight
the
scenes were
action,
good.
but the action was just on par with everything else in that movie.
Yeah.
And this movie, not as much. But the action stood out, and he was an imposing presence, and he stood there all intensely, and he was just kind of like, he was like Dwayne Johnson amongst us mortals. It was I don't want to. If you know me, you know I hate tooting the Dwayne Johnson horn, and so the fact that I not only and not only oh my god, throwback. Not only did I enjoy a DC movie, I enjoyed a DC movie starring Dwayne Johnson. That means they did something right, I think. Bar being low notwithstanding. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. It had great action. It's fun to see in theaters.
Yeah. So to go off of that energy, I enjoyed myself in this movie. I did. Before I, shit all over it. I came out of it going, I didn't hate that movie. Like I expected to come out of this after talking to you, Smirch, for so long about like it's just gonna be The Rock saying the Rock things, delaying the smack, like not even that. And so I went into this being like, all right, it's just going to be a shit show of a bad acting. And honestly, I had a good time doing it. To your point, the action was superb. I really did enjoy the spectacle of it. I could have done without the overly CGI third act demon that came out, but it looked okay. It was quick enough cuts that it didn't really hit too hard and look too digital. Um, Pretty much those are my main points. I think the best part about The Rock was that he didn't have a lot of speaking lines, so that helps. He had a bit more of a monologue in the later half when he was talking about his backstory and like the little twists of who the hero of Kandak is. I'm gonna butcher all of it. I
Kondak.
apologize, Kandak. So that was kind of neat. um I liked some of the aspect of what they did with the anti-hero. I thought that was kind of neat, although as I kept watching it was a little bit more repetitive. I'm not a hero. Yeah, I heard you, buddy. I
Dude,
did.
drink every time that
The
happens in
first
any
time.
superhero movie. There's always someone that's like, I'm no hero. And I'm like, it's
um
not even a thing to me anymore.
no, it's
So
true.
I don't know, maybe that's didn't bother me.
The That's really mostly all of the good I have to say. So, that kid needed to not exist in this movie. Even the plot points that he was involved in could have been literally anything else, and it would have worked just fine. Without him, he was not a good actor. And that end speech, as you were mentioning earlier, I say speech, but it was him talking at this level, holding up the symbol, and somehow every adult in the area stopped, could hear him over a fucking war practically going on, and listened to him, which made no sense. So that kid really
It
derailed a
sounded
lot of
like
it.
they hired in some other actor to redub
Yeah,
his lines. They
it
just came in
was.
like, "Hello, let's
Yeah.
go get him." Ah.
Speaking of kids, unfortunately, there were a bunch of kids in our theater too that kept getting up and walking around and in and out, and then just literally
Mm.
left halfway through the movie, just left and didn't come back. And we're like, well, that's the best thing that could have happened, but why would you
Mhm.
come anyway? I don't.
Yep.
And like they laughed at like at like the most ridiculous parts that weren't even that fun, and we're just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. So, other than that, kids suck.
What was that laugh?
That's dude. I'm not even kidding you. That's what they sounded like. It sounded like an exaggeration of a laugh, and it was the most annoying, frustrating thing in the world.
Uh,
Um,
yeah. I
but go
yeah.
ahead.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm not. Look, I admit I have a hard time. You know, I go in to see Thor. Thor 4, Love and Thunder, and I'm thinking, here we go.
It's
That
some good
last one was
action. It did have some good action. Some, not all of
some
it was good.
some. I really did like the part with the hammer and how it came split apart and came back together. That was super
The the,
cool.
the fight scene in with Zeus, that was cool. Anyway, back on topic.
Yeah, well, I'm saying that to say I went into that movie and I was excited. The because the bar for Marvel, and not just Marvel, for the last Thor movie was pretty high. I did not like that movie, and I recognize that it's not a bad movie, but there were just so many moments that I just felt weren't up to par. And again, can say the same thing about this movie, but just on the flip side, like there was no bar, or a very low one, and I've said this before, and I think that whenever Dwayne puts forth just a little bit of effort to not be exactly the same thing he's been doing in every movie all the time, every year, it shows and it matters because he's always front and center. And I mean, not a ton, but he put forth some effort into this character, and that's all that it took, and it worked for me.
Yeah.
And people think I'm a huge Dwayne Johnson critic. I don't even think I am personally. I just want the dude to try a little.
Yeah, you are. It's fine.
He doesn't,
fine.
but admit like I'm just amazed he's still as popular as he is, because he is like, I get it, like, but I feel like Arnold back in the day would at least like try to be slightly different. I'm not saying he was that much different, but like just the amount of exposure we've had to Dwayne over the last like 5 years alone, and then like how, and like, but and how like he's the same in everything. But like even when you have like Jumanji, he tries, and it's good.
Yeah.
And he tried a little bit in this, and it worked for me. The imposing presence and the way that he moved, I was into it. I liked. I liked, though I would have liked to have seen more of him. Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate, I think was fun, and I think the action that Dr. Fate did was visually complete eye candy. I look forward to rewatching some of those action scenes. I thought they were very fun to watch. Tim, you said you had some opinions on Hawkman.
Look, this guy came into this movie being just good cop. That's it. That's his personality. And I'm like, that is not a personality. Your job is not a personality description. And that's all he was someone who was like, I'm here for justice. We're going to take you in. Justice, take you in. Justice, take you in. And I'm like, calm down. Deep puff the chest, buddy. Just pump the brakes a little bit here, because there was no he kept coming in being like, I want to talk, and he wouldn't talk. All he would say is, we're gonna take you prisoner. That's not a conversation, buddy. That's a broken record. And so it was the writing in this movie for me could have been a lot better. on everybody's front. I don't think anybody had any really standout dialogue moments that really kind of was like, oh, that's a good point, or oh, that was a good conversation, and I was into any of it. I'm not looking for necessarily all of that in a superhero movie, but a little bit. The reason that I really loved No Way Home is because there was poignant moments and deep connection with these characters, with all the different Spider-Man moments that they were describing and how they lost Mary Jane. So you had that, going on. With this, it was just like, I lost my son.
Yeah.
And I'm
I
like,
mean,
oh, okay. Like the flashbacks were kind of nice and did something for it and kind of helped, but it just was lacking a little bit there. But I will say, um, we did not need any versions of Atom Smasher and Cyclone. They brought nothing to the
yeah,
table. They were just like, here's a wind effect and
literally.
here's a big dude, and that was it. And it was didn't do much for me. Honestly, if you're gonna
Yeah.
do the Justice Society, or what originally was Justice Society of America, the JSA, do the JSA, or I don't care about the A part, just do the actual members. I know Cyclone was there, but like give me Dr. Midnight, give me Mr. Terrific, like all of these people who were like really smart and intelligent and had a little bit more to add to like a plot, not a plot, but to like planning to like an attack plan, because there really wasn't one. It was like the two of us veterans are going to go do everything and you come in and punch him. And that
Yeah.
was I'm like, that's not a plan. This guy is a living god, an embodiment of wizards, and you're gonna
Yeah.
just punch him. And so, um but I will say overall, like, yeah, it was fun to watch. And I again, low bar, so I really just was like, this was, yeah, it was a spectacle. um Spoilers, Henry Cavill's back as the end credit scene, which we talked a little bit about in our Marvel catch up, which kind of just became latest news. Like, the whole shape of the DC moving forward isn't. It's just what do they say? You can't polish a turd. That's what they're trying to do by putting James Gunn in, and like you still got Henry Cavill. There's a rumor that Ben Affleck is coming back as Batman. Like there's like all these things. I'm like, you're just playing with the same things and expecting me to see them in a different light. So who knows? I do like the idea of Superman and Shazam, like the two biggest bads, like biggest but whatever. Who knows what's going to happen? But
Yeah. Hmm.
also, that woman didn't bring much to the table. Unfortunately, her character, she was fine. I think she did what she could with the material. As an actress, I think she was fine. I just don't see like that connection. Like everyone tries to take like a human connection to all of these over the larger than life characters, and like it didn't really need to have that. You didn't need to ground it necessarily that much in that way. I think it would have done a little bit better, you know, if
It's
he
hard. You need some sort of
you
juxtaposition.
you
So that she
do.
was filling that role.
She was. I just don't feel like, again, it's the writing. It's not anything to do with her. She was fine.
Yeah.
It's just the writing didn't really drive it home for me. But I mean,
Well,
look,
didn't do it for anybody.
will I watch this again when it comes out for free on HBO, whatever? Yeah, I probably will. Will I watch? Have I watched Thor: Love and Thunder again yet? No, I have not. So take that for what you will. Now, we started a thing in our last review, and we're giving everything grades, which I kind of like. It's a simple way to do it. So, Dan, what
Oh
grade would you give?
no.
Would you give this? We're doing all our
That's
reviews
hard. I can't see this is interesting because like
on a normal scale,
a
not on a
normal scale
DC scale.
I, I, I can't. My vision is compromised. So I can't give it in any other way other than what I felt about it and how I felt about it coming out of that. I mean, it was
Yeah, give me
even
how you
like
felt coming out of the movie theater.
B, the
That's
B.
that's an honest reaction right there, ladies and gentlemen. Um, C plus,
Okay.
C, right in that range. Like,
Yeah.
probably better than a bunch of the other DC movies.
I
Um,
definitely think that.
yeah,
There's that's not even I honestly like I think it's I don't know if I even want to say this, but the ending of Wonder Woman
first one.
really took me out of it. And at that point, that
What do you
was
mean, the giant sky battle with Ares?
yeah. I was enjoying that movie, and I guess I won't say I didn't enjoy that last part, but it just took me away from it. And although this movie with the animated bad guy was pulling me out of it,
It's like
the
the
ult
same ending.
the ult it's that's fair, but the finishing move, like I literally almost yelled in the theater, fatality, like was just a very satisfying,
When he
like
ripped him in half.
yes,
Yeah, that was pretty
that
cool.
that completely redeemed that whole moment. And I came out of that movie thinking, what a ride. Like that was fun. Like I enjoyed that movie. And I also admit that endings are bigger to me than most people. And ultimately I was left with the feeling of I'm looking forward to seeing Black Adam fucking shit up again.
Yeah, I would
And
agree with that.
so I think that I don't know, based on how I don't even know how successful this movie is doing. I haven't even looked, but will we get more
Pretty
Black Adam
good.
movies? Possibly.
Oh,
I'm more excited just to see him in other movies. Hopefully, I don't know. Maybe Dwayne Ziegler won't allow that. I don't know.
I don't think we
Or
need
his.
more Black Adam movies. I just him
I don't think so
as
either. But it's Dwayne Johnson, so that's how it's gonna
but
be.
like if he's in a majority of these movies going forward, like as a Thanos type character or something, like that would be kind of cool, like bring it around where like
I
him
don't
and like
think.
a couple other villains are like
I
teaming
don't.
up.
But see now we're at the Dwayne Johnson problem, casting him as a villain. Is he going to be a villain? I don't think so.
I mean, if
I
he
think
fights Superman, then
I don't
yes,
think maybe. I think since it's Dwayne, he's never. I think they're going to toe the line constantly.
they're gonna
Uh,
BVS him.
Maybe. I don't think he's ever going to be definitively a good guy or a bad guy. I think he's just going to kind of be somewhere in
I,
between,
I mean, look,
and which is okay.
those are the more interesting characters anyway, so hopefully they do that
Yeah,
right. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Towing a
We'll
line
see.
is we had a conversation about someone like that. I don't even remember who, but they were the more interesting characters when you have
That's true.
a little bit of both going on here.
We'll
Anti-heroes
see.
are generally more interesting. So overall, I would say I would recommend go see Black Adam.
If you
Yeah.
if you
If
like comic book action and you like going to the theaters, I think you'll have a fun time
yeah,
looking past some of its very visible flaws.
yeah, there are visible ones, and
Mm-hmm.
they're about like what 15 years old. Visible
Mm-hmm.
flaw, that
Mm-hmm.
fucking
And
kid.
Audible, and he was very bad, and he
Yeah,
only got worse and
yeah.
worse and worse and
So
worse.
I could tear it apart more if I wanted to, but I don't really want to right now. I am enjoying movies and comic book
This
movies again. So
feels to me like a win for DC, and
mm,
that's no.
I mean, look, I'm not willing to give them a W until I
Uh,
see what they're gonna do with the big picture.
no, I don't think you should do that. I think a
Uh,
movie's a movie. Like you
I'm too
can't like.
jaded.
I feel you on that, but remember, these are movies, and like just because if it's good or bad down the line, I think ultimately, like each movie is its own thing. I don't know. That's what I think.
They are,
Especially
but
since I don't think it's going to get any better. I would take it for what it is.
I mean,
So we'll see.
hot take. I do think, unfortunately, that the Flash movie will be better. I just think that
I mean,
it's
it's
hard to
rough.
watch.
Right.
You know
Ezra
what I mean?
Miller is really just throwing his entire career down the tubes. And I honestly was, I mean,
We'll get into that
this
a
is no
whole.
secret. I love the Flash. I liked Ezra Miller in general. I've seen him in a few things. I think he's a talented as fuck actor. And now
Agreed.
he has just really thrown it all away.
Yeah,
I don't, he that boy needs therapy.
which he's getting. So hopefully it
It's
helps.
good. It's good.
Um, otherwise, go see that. Stay tuned for more reviews. For again, we're gonna have a whole bunch of new content coming out soon. Stay tuned for that. More updates. Make sure you're following, the Modern Nerd on everything: Twitter, Instagram. Make sure you're checking out GJC327 on his Twitch, where we usually host most of these live. You can chat with us while we do it, and we'll be doing a lot more content there as well. I'm going to get better at putting up more audio versions of things. So if you want to sit down for our hour-long episodes on a nice run or on your commute to work, check out the Spotify. I know honestly, like the last like 10 episodes that we've done, I have not put the audio up, so I'll get to that. So that's my fault. But you can always, if you subscribe and like the YouTube channel, you can always listen to it on there and have your headphones in. Other than that, we have been the Modern Nerd, and thank you for watching.